It is July 1st, 2026. I think it's midnight, almost 1 a.m. So I am going to post in the link below, the description, the meeting that I had at the Southern District of New York, where I was talking about I was at the Committee of Budgeting, and I talked about how the Committee of Finance is misappropriating funds that is affecting federal, state, and city legislation, and a few other things that people don't want me to talk about. But I'm done being silent. I'm done with the system trying to correct things incorrectly so that I get screwed. I am tired of hush-hush. I'm tired of people being ashamed of what they did, but instead of showing their shame, which they allowed me to have shame and weaponized the judicial system in the federal court so that I looked like a laughingstock. My butt was all over the place. Oh, and TikTok, Twitter, and Netflix for intellectual property, stealing private photos and having hidden camera footage, and using directed energy weapons to have people break into my place, RAPE me, and brutalize me, and then publicize it on things like Pornhub and Twitter URLs. Instead of having the same shame that they enforced and allowed upon me and are now trying to make frivolous in court, they want me to shut up. I'm not going to shut up. I'm not. Even if I mess up in court, I'm not going to stop. Because I have been humiliated, my whole life has been destroyed, my family has been taunted, tortured, and murdered in the process of England, Germany, and the United States screwing up and allowing people to do identity theft. And then, because they're not white, they have to murder them for what? Organ harvesting? So my white family that has deformations from doing incest in England can get that, or other royal white families in England can have, African Americans or other cultures, Hispanic, Ukrainian, whatever, Jewish, whatever you want to use it, I don't care. The whole point is, in my particular aspect, you are allowing people from the royal families, wherever they are, whatever country they are, and that they hold a status, use other people that were used in slavery or indentured slavery or whatever to organ harvest. So you murder them, organ harvest them, clone them. If they're from the Christ bloodline, you want to lie. The Vatican lies to the people, withholds information that this is really heaven on earth. Heaven and earth are the same, let's put it that way. And that there really are people that are of the Christ bloodline that can reincarnate their body organs. So you go, you murder them, or you open them up, you take out their organs, and then they wake up a couple hours later with their organs, already done. I know this sounds crazy. I don't believe in this religious stuff, but let's say hypothetically it's true, and these are some of the secrets that the federal government is keeping from us. Think about Area 51 and all the technology and all the cloning and all of the psychological evaluations with what I think it was Carl Jung, with the dog head. After putting electrical impulses in a dead, cut head of a dog, it was reanimated, and then you wonder why we have all these zombie movies. Come on, guys, pay attention. Think about this. This happened in the 1960s. Why do you think we're having zombie movies now? Because they put graphite in our bodies. They put it in the chemtrails. It was in our food. It was in our water. It's in our air. And then they have nanotechnology that is self-assembling to create transmitters and receivers, including devices that can create a virtual image of you and monitor you through that. Monitor your blood levels, your heart rate. Why? Because all of this is going through your system. The graphite is constantly going through your blood system. Okay? This is not science fiction. So I need you all to understand that this is reality. And this is what they're doing to people. They're making people into these things where when they die, because you still have electrical pulses and your body has muscle memory, you might come back to life for a little bit. until the electrical impulses out of your dead cells goes away. Hence, when you come back to life, supposedly you might live up to 3 days, even though you're dead. Your body goes through muscle memory. So you might potentially be a zombie because of the graphite, because of the body just having the natural magnetic field that has to die once your brain functions die. And you might become a zombie and try to do muscle memory. You're still going to feel hunger. You're going to try to eat something. You know, it is what it is. That's why they're trying to desensitize you from the concept of the zombie movies. That's why they're doing all of this. That's why they're doing the shooting games and everything. So our kids know, okay, if a zombie breakout happens, we need to defend ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't know. You can think that this is chaos, whatever, all you want. But military soldiers already know that this is reality. They have obituaries where they talk about cloned soldiers that have died. If you think this is wrong, go and check some of the soldiers' obituaries. There is evidence that we have already been cloning humans. There is evidence we have already been using them in war. There is evidence that they didn't get fully off that the first cloned baby was, 2001 or 1991? It was 2001. The first cloned baby. And it was publicized, and then it was hush-hush. They intentionally hush-hush because they don't want the public to know. Think about Area 51. This was from the 1950s, end of 1950s into the 1960s. And then cloned Dolly. She was, 1965? We've had this technology for forever. Please wake up. Please understand. These situations that targeted individuals are going through, if you feel like you're stalked, you're being followed, you're being hacked, all of this, the Pegasus program is already worldwide. They've already found ways to infiltrate. Why do you think OpenAI is such a security risk? Because of Pegasus. Because if it can manipulate Pegasus and get into our systems for our missiles, our nuclear heads, anything, that's exactly why we still have the old technology, so that we don't use or have access to Pegasus getting in there. However, Bluetooth doesn't help. Now, does it? Because Bluetooth goes through everything. Telecommunications. The United States, as well as other countries, I believe, but predominantly I'm only talking about the United States because that's what I know the best. We've already created the telecommunications system where it goes through everything, right? We have the different frequencies. If OpenAI already knows the different frequencies to interact with the transmitters that are in our brains and interact with the telecommunications that is in military usage, you think that it's not going to be able to use those same telecommunication frequencies and access devices that use Bluetooth to turn on Bluetooth or manipulate our voice to do things like that. That is why AI has become such a threat, because the way that we are not regulating this concept of Pegasus, not regulating up-to-date hacking securities, and it's not just for the Pentagon. You could go to a public Wi-Fi, hack from there, use your VPNs, create different networks, and I'm talking out of my butt right now for the general knowledge that I do know, okay? And for me to have general knowledge and know how to hack into systems that get into military is dangerous. And for the state, the government, the city, not to find regulation or not to make immediate up-to-date regulation on the up-to-date situations and crises dealing with hacking, Bluetooth access, data acquisition, and cache being used, as well as zip drives being put on, I think they're like LBJs or something, not to regulate that stuff is a problem. Regulating OpenAI is not going to solve anything. You're still going to have live hackers messing with stuff, on top of the fact that live hackers that have already done their own OpenAI, it's negligent. What you're doing is creating a situation that is going to be mass destruction for all countries. The regulation needs to come up. That's really what it is. The regulation needs to come up. The transparency needs to be there. And instead of hiring a bunch of sex offenders and other people, maybe you should hire people that honor their oaths.